Happy first week of college, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sam Houston SportsTalk podcast. As you know, it's Collin, Neill, and as always, Luke Scott. And, well, Luke, it ain't the first week of college for us anymore because we're graduated. I'm done. I'm glad we're done. I'm done with it. I don't have to worry about homework anymore. Don't have to worry about syllabus. Don't have to worry about getting textbooks and getting ripped off by bookstores to get those textbooks. So I'm glad, and spending more money or scrambling for anything. I'm glad that's over with. Luke, it's not just that, but it's also a sign that Sam Houston Athletics is here, and I'm excited, man. This is gonna be a fun year, I reckon.
Oh yeah, Colin. First week of school coming back was always kind of a bummer, but it was also pretty fun because syllabus week you don't do anything, Colin. You just kind of party for that week and have a good time. But then at the same time, you have to think about all those different things you have to go buy, have to get, new schedule. It's fun, but it's different. New professors, so excited that I don't have to deal with that anymore, Colin. I think I'm probably the newest graduate on the airwaves from Sam Houston on YouTube, so we'll see. But uh, very happy I don't have to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, welcome to the alumni life. It's not much. You just work.
Well, I am a distinguished. I'm an alumni, part of the alumni associations. So
Hey,
as you are.
yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and get right into things today. We just talk about more football and also throw the Bauer Stadium turf in there. Talk about soccer, how they've been performing absolutely magnificent, especially last night on Sunday night against the Houston Cougars. Also, talk a little bit about of anything else. In essence, Luke, a lot happened, but it all happened in a very such a condensed timeline. So we're gonna try to keep it short. I promise. Hopefully, it's not gonna be an hour long, and then watch it be an hour long, because we just can't. We just can't stop talking. It's mostly my fault. Luke gets straight to the point. I like to just keep talking. So, and look at me, I'm doing that right now. So let's get started. Luke, training camp has ended for Sam Houston football. We are less than 2 weeks out from the season beginning, which will start against Rice on August 31st. There's been so much talk. Who's QB1? How's the defense looking? How's the receiver room looking? Most importantly, how the O line room is looking. But to lead off first, the QB battle, as it's been 50-50, like we've always said. Hunter Watson against Chase Bauer. You of all people know how much I like Bauer, how much I like his arm, but all signs have been pointing towards Hunter Watson potentially being the QB1, and I'm all for it. I think he it's just that, can he stay healthy? Can he adjust to the level of football? He's going from NGCAA to FBS. But you know what? After watching more film over the weekend of his time at Iowa Western, I see why. And Luke, I just wanted to know, man. I don't know how much film you've watched on Hunter Watson, how much you delved into him. What do you think? Do you think Hunter Watson has the capabilities to be the QB1?
I think he does. I've always kind of been on the Bauer camp as well, just because he's played at this level before, and that's kind of who I'd want. Just to start, if things don't go right with him, yeah, you can pivot to Watson, but Watson is definitely the high ceiling candidate between the two, uh, because of his athleticism, because of he's got a little bit of a moxie to him, and you can see that in all of his previous games. I mean, he led Iowa Western, right? Iowa Western in the junior college ranks. They were really, really good under him, and it was champion, right? So um, we know that he's a good player. Now, can he live up to this level? We'll see. But it's not like guys from the junior college ranks haven't done well. I mean, Cam Newton is one of the best examples, and of course, Cam Newton is an absolute alien, right? The dude was 6'5" and could leap over the O linemen and run faster than the receivers. but still, you've seen it be done. So why not him? Uh, but we'll see. I think the depth chart has yet to be released. So we'll see what Keeler decides. But um, Watson is definitely an intriguing player, and it's someone that the Bearcats would, I think, fans would really like to see because in the past, few years with Shoemaker, you kind of knew what you got, and it was not that it wasn't the most exciting brand of football. Watson is an exciting brand of football. He's the dude is super athletic. So we'll see. I think they're still going to go Bauer. You think Watson? But the injuries that you talked about, that's definitely a concern. He's had out of practices before. He's been nursing this injury. He's had a cleanup surgery in previous months. So that's definitely the issue with him.
Yeah, and I mean, injuries happen, and but if he's 100% or near 100%, they feel like he can take on the mantle of being the guy, then they will put him in there, especially for his running ability. And they're not. This is not an air raid offense. They're not going to bomb the ball down the field way too often. This is an RPO spread, and if you have a quarterback that can run the football, it is going to keep defenses on their toes quite a lot. And then, especially since with the running back room they have right now with Jay Ducker, with John Gentry, Zach Bacek, and along with other guys like DJ McKinney, Adrian Murdahl, and Landon Coco Brown. I mean, this defense is, if this offense is successful, the defenses that they're going to face are going to have a tough task on their hands, especially as well with the receiver room that Sam Houston has with Ife Adeyi coming back, which I think is going to be such a great thing to have back because like I said before, the conference doesn't know a whole lot about. They know about him, but they've never seen him in action.
It's a very interesting concept and flow of things we have. You have your juice on the outside, and you have some juice down the middle in the tight end room, but in that running back room with their Bacek, we know how fast and quick Bacek is, but we also have more of that thunder and more of the hard nose between the guards and tackles with Gentry and Ducker. So um, I think you're absolutely right with Watson being that kind of a dual threat guy. And we see in college football and even the pros now, really, but especially in college football, the quarterback keepers, those options, reading the ends and tucking it and keeping it. We see that all the time now, and that adds an element to Conference USA, which we all know Conference USA isn't the best conference. If you had add a very good athlete in that backfield along with your running backs who can throw the ball, that offers a lot to an offense of what they can run. Additionally, from what they were going to before, we know he can pass the ball, but enabling all the running that you can get from that, that'd be huge to even open up the pass. So the offense is definitely the biggest question mark, but yet also um, what everyone's looking forward to.
Switching to the other side of the ball on the defensive side, another guy that is coming back that wasn't there for conference play, but mainly because he took a red shirt, and apparently he was also hurt, but I can't really confirm nor deny that. It's going to be Davion Armstead, the cornerback, the DB who's going to be who's going to be the main corner on the defense. The transfer from TCU had a really good 4 games, especially against BYU. We all saw what happened there, but him coming back is also going to be much like the offense having Ife back. It's just going to be such a huge boost to an already really good defense.
Yeah, that's the side of the ball that everyone knows that's our strong suit. It's it was it's been very good for us for the past few years, and a lot of it's because we just have really good players on that side and some really good athletes. Of course, coaches, right? But these guys are consummate professionals in what they do. You have a solid linebacking core, Gaither, Williams, but you still have Gaither's been a really good. Javon Leon's been in the program what seems to be forever, and on the back end, I mean, you just talked about him, Armstead. we know these guys. Caleb Weaver's a good player, a Houston guy, local guy. Um, we have tons of really good athletes that um, some have yet to be really proven at this level that are looking forward to it, and some we know that can play and play ball really well. So I mean, you can only just count the days down. We're so excited for Sam to get back on the field, um, and it looks like, I mean, I think we're probably gonna challenge Rice this first game and might win it.
Yeah, I don't think Rice is
Rice has lost a lot.
right. Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone was kind of. I talked to a lot of people. You probably talked to a lot of people too. Like everyone was chalking up Rice as a almost automatic loss, but Rice lost quite a lot of players. They have a lot of new faces, and I don't necessarily think it's gonna be an easy walk for either side. I think it's gonna come down to the wire. I think it's gonna come down to one or two plays. But I could see Sam Houston pulling out a close one against the Owls. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think Sam really does have a chance. It's gonna come down to if they can get off to a strong start. Because last year, Luke, my goodness, like Sam Houston had a tough time getting out to a hot start.
And look at the betting lines. It's been a 12.5 point favorite. I mean, we're just 2 weeks away. We still have plenty of time. That line's already come down to 10.5.
Yeah, I know.
So
I
the
saw that too.
public loves Sam Houston. The public loves Sam Houston, which you don't look at betting lines for everything. I mean, it's just betting lines, right? But that kind of gives you an indication of what the public like and how the books adjust. What they adjust. So a lot of love coming in on Sam, which we like to see, right? So. Uh, I think that line's a little too high too. Rice lost a lot of players. They lost to McCaffrey. I think he's in the NFL now. I think he got drafted, didn't he?
I don't know.
Anyways, but I mean, there's Sam feels like a live dog. We're still 2 weeks away, and we still don't know who the quarterback is, but we feel like a live dog.
I kind of feel like the quarterback's gonna be in is gonna be a it's gonna be we're gonna know it once the game starts, like or once the offense goes out there. I think the depth chart's gonna go back to that thing where it was like last year, Keegan Shoemaker or Grant Gunnell. So it could be a Hunter Watson or Jace Bauer kind of deal. I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
And
we know Keeler has said one quarterback. He talked about it in the Conference USA media days when he's not wanting to run a two quarterback system. But I wouldn't be too surprised. You get to the goal line, you see a different quarterback.
uh, it's a very interesting idea. I mean, it's
I mean, we've been running it in the past. I mean, Trapper Panel was our goal line guy for a long time.
yeah. He gave us quite a few big moments last year as well, and
Yeah,
we could see
yeah.
Watson in that role too if Bauer is the starting quarterback come Rice. Keeping it football for a little bit. Sam Houston was able to end their training camp on the new turf, and it and it all but confirms it was exactly like in the game the whole time with the gray on the outside of the out of bounds boundaries the and Sam Houston on one end zone, Bearcats on the other end zone. And Luke, honestly, anything was gonna look better than that old turf, but I'm not gonna lie, it looks really nice now that we see it like on in Bowers. I think, and it has gotten a lot of great great criticism. It seems like all majority, if not all people, like how the new turf looks.
It looks good. And you said anything was going to be an improvement from what we had. It was just so old and beaten up. And, um, I'd been on that turf covering Huntsville high school games back when they played on it, calling for 2 years. It was rough, right? So, uh, it's always one thing when they announce it and then they're working on it, and it's another thing when you see it in person and live. And I haven't gotten to see it. I will be able to see it once football season starts when I go to a few of the games. But um, Pictures look great. On social media, they're promoting it very, very well. I saw one they did the old school of rock, um, the sound when they're performing for the in the competition. So good. School's back. They just played on that whole entire theme coming on, and it looks really good. And I'm glad a project that they've been hyping up for a while now is finally done.
Yeah, and go along with it, softball's new turf is also coming along really well. Hopefully they're able to get that done before or before October or early October, so that way Sam Houston softball can get a couple of fall games in there. Um, the it's not complete. The turf is really, they still got to put the concrete around it. They're gonna still have concrete out there so they can move vehicles on it. And the visiting locker room extension is not completed just yet, but that's coming along pretty nicely. Hopefully they'll be able to get that done before the first home game, which will be against Hawaii. So we'll see what happens with that. And finally, to end things on football, it was announced a few hours before we recorded that Sam Houston has an away game scheduled with Texas Tech. It'll be in 2026, and Sam Houston will be getting $1 million out of it. I love Luke. I just love the fact that Sam Houston's able to get these kind of games. This year, no FCS. Next year, no FCS. And as we continue on and on throughout the times, Sam Houston keeps on getting these really good teams to either go to or to come here in Huntsville. That Texas Tech game adds on to another trip for 2026, which they will be going to Troy, Alabama on September 5th, 2026, to face the Sun Belt team, the Trojans. So overall, Luke, the scheduling has been really great for Sam Houston football for now and in the future.
And Texas is one of those teams that they've been in the Big 12 for their entire time, right? And uh, being growing up a Baylor fan, Texas Tech has always been a wild card team. They have been able to beat anybody, and they have been able to lose it to anybody, and that's including non-Power Five teams. Texas Tech is not the most consistent uh, team or program, for that matter. Ever since Mike Leach left, they've just kind of been, up here, down here. Of course, they've had Mahomes, but they've also had uh, Alan Bowman, who has been an absolute disaster. He's playing his like 20th year in college football for Oklahoma State now. But yeah, Texas Tech is it's a great stadium. I have a bunch of friends that went to Tech and graduated from there. Um, get ready for some frozen tortillas. They will be throwing. They'll be flying in the air there in Jones AT&T. But I'm excited. Yeah, it's a program that it's definitely a beatable team, and they're getting paid $1 million off that. Not too bad.
Yeah. I wish I don't know what I would do with $1 million. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just a quick note here. The game will be the third time the Bearcats and Red Raiders have battled against each other. The last meeting was in 2015. What were you doing in 2015, Luke?
I was in the 8th grade.
Yeah, great times. It was a shootout, to say the least. It was a 59-45 Red Raider win. The offenses combined for 1,282 yards, with
Nice.
671 of them coming from the Bearcats. The first meeting, however, didn't go quite so well for Sam Houston. It was a Texas Tech win, 80-21.
2015. Was that Baker Mayfield's year there?
I don't remember honestly. That'd be a
I
good.
gotta look that up.
That'd be.
That's right there. That's right there in that timeline.
Let's see. Baker Mayfield, Texas Tech.
Oh, no, that was not Baker Mayfield.
It was Mahomes,
That
wasn't
was
it?
Mr. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
man, yeah, Baker Mayfield was 13. So
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause then he went to Oklahoma.
I just saw his picture. Man, he looks different. Yeah, crazy what Big 12 football can do to you.
Hey, the Big 12, man.
Yeah.
Not always the best conference, but some would say the most entertaining.
Well, I'll end the football talk for this podcast. And before we continue on, how about you subscribe if you haven't already? We're at 85 subscribers at the time of this recording. Let's see if we can get to 100 subs before football season begins. So don't just like this video. That would also be appreciated. How about you subscribe if you haven't already for all the Sam Houston Bearkat sports talk. I know that this is a pretty entertaining duo if you ask me. Luke's a more entertaining one than I am. So
Colin, you want me to give you the stats for that game?
oh gosh, here we go.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes, 33 for 53, 425 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Oh my
Nice.
god.
I'm trying to find how you can get to. It only shows on the sportsreference.com. It only shows Tech, probably because they were D1. We weren't. We were FCS at that time,
Well,
so it
back
doesn't show ours.
was it called FCS then, or was it Division One AA?
Or yeah, double A, NC1. I don't know. Same thing. I mean,
Yeah, not very
Jakeem Grant.
not very successful in basketball.
Wait, what?
Sam Houston versus Texas Tech.
Oh, no, that was not good the other year. A couple years ago.
Let's see. I got the full box score though, real quick before we dive into some other Sam Houston sports talk. See here.
Box score or what?
For that game. Don't know if it will show me the stats. There we go. Okay, I think I got it. Team Sam Houston had 34 first downs to 29 for Texas Tech. Sam Houston had 317 rush yards. That was the majority of it. For the individual, Jeremiah Briscoe and Jared Johnson, this was a 2 QB combo. They both Briscoe threw 176 yards for a touchdown, 144 from Jared Johnson. When it came to the rushing, it was the Donovan Williams show. 12 rushes for 99 yards. They had 4 guys 50 rush yards or more. Sam Houston did. So
Man,
it was just Patrick
that was
Mahomes.
what year? 2015, right?
Yes, yes.
So I was Keeler's second year.
But moving on, just a quick tidbit before we get into the next major segment. Other scheduling news: Sam Houston men's basketball got another big opponent for the 2024-2025 college basketball season. They will be facing up against the Pittsburgh Panthers. Yes, that Pittsburgh, the Pit is what they call it. Albeit the football hasn't been the best. Basketball is pretty all right. If I understand Luke, their basketball is pretty all right.
I used to be Colin when we were growing up in like the mid 2000s, 2010s. Yeah, they were good. Not anymore. They suck.
They could have been, apparently they could have been a tournament team this year at large. But the famous graphic of like all the things they accomplished. I don't know if you remember that, but it was a pretty interesting graphic to try to argue that they should have been an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament this year.
Oh, there was a bunch of teams that should have been in over Pittsburgh. I can tell you that. The whole Big East should have been in there, and they didn't put any of them in there. I mean, there was a few, obviously, but
yeah. Well, but besides that, Luke, Coach Mudge and men's basketball, they're not shying away from scheduling these big schools. I mean, one of the main critiques of Hooten's tenure was the fact that he would schedule so many non D1 schools, but Mudge is the complete opposite of it. So far, only just one non-Division One is scheduled. They'll apparently face University of Dallas sometime in late December. The Bearcats will, but three power schools. When it comes Pittsburgh, Indiana, Baylor, and a very good mid-major in Nevada out of the Mountain West Conference. Also, a road game against Tarleton State. They're apparently going by Tarleton State now, not just Tarleton. So, Luke, just your quick comments about the scheduling so far for men's basketball.
yeah, obviously it's polar opposite. I'm sure there'll be a couple more. We always play Laterno.
Yeah.
Of course, that's just right down the road from each other. But usually these coaches, whenever they do their scheduling and they're looking for years ahead. A lot of times, there's connections. Oh, I was an assistant under that old coach, their head coach, or I went to school with their assistant coach. I don't really know if there's a huge connection with Pittsburgh. Maybe you do. It's a
I
very random shout. I mean, it's Huntsville to Pittsburgh is very very far away and very different, but yeah, it's a big school. Obviously, Power Five, ACC team, right? So they're it's a big team, but big conference. But yeah, you always like seeing Sam Houston's schedule, non D1s. You like to see us play top tier opponents. I mean, this year Colgate, right? Colgate's been is a perennial mid major perennial tournament team. I mean, they've won the Patriot League every year for the past, I think, 5 or 6 years. I think it is. I mean, it's something. It's crazy like that. They get blown out in the first round every year. It feels like, but still a tournament team, right? So you'll take whatever you can get. And Pittsburgh, traditionally decent. Past
recently.
few years, not great. Winnable, I think so.
Okay, he's calling the Pittsburgh game already winnable. I like I like that. I like that. We'll get more into men's basketball talk as we get closer to the season because there's a lot to talk about. But obviously, football is here and women's soccer. Yes, let's talk a little bit about them, Luke, because they just kind of shocked they just kind of shocked a lot of Bearcats last night in downtown Houston as they defeated the Houston Cougars 3-1, and also after drawing against Battle of the Piney Woods rivalry against SFA, which a lot of people had questions about Coach Carvello and the team for some reason after that. Some even saying that why are they even scheduling that? But
Mm.
that's their talk anyway. That's their opinion. But Luke, that what a win! First win against a power school since 2006 against Mississippi State. A first win slash tie, I should add. But man, I'm still kind of shook about it. I mean, Cassia Souza did a tremendous job in goal. Houston shot the ball 20 times. Souza had 8 saves and only conceded once. Gabrielle Williams, the freshman from DeSoto, getting her first collegiate career goal. Landry Townsend with the bombo clot of a goal. Top bins. It was a nice little slow. You said it earlier, kind of looked like a little bit of a chip shot because you saw how far up the Houston goalie was, and then Jasmine Dybala just with the fortunate bounce off her from the corner that Houston just misplayed, and it just found the back of the net. The beautiful game, most call it. Sometimes it can look a little mischievous and ugly like that, but Carvello has really turned this program around, Luke. We still have a long season
Yeah.
ahead, but this is already such a great
Chalk it
season.
up.
Yeah.
Colin, we're winning the national championship this year. We're winning Conference USA. We're winning it all this year. No, no, no.
Yeah.
But it was a Coach Carvello masterclass. I mean, it really was. Um, Houston dominated the possession. I mean, you look at the stats, shots. You look at all of it. Possession time. Houston dominated that. But when it comes to getting goals, it comes to scoring. Sam Houston just came out ahead. Uh, Landry Townsend, she got the game winner. What a great goal that was. The goalie was just kind of in a bad spot, kind of in no man's land, and she said, "Okay, I'll take it," and just kind of finessed it right over the shoulder there. And like you said, Bomba Clat. It was good. I have to be quiet right now. And also, yeah, Jasmine Dybala, Gabrielle Williams. The last goal was kind of it wasn't necessarily the prettiest goal, but it went in, right? So we'll take it.
We can all admit it was a little ugly, but I'm sure Dybala won't mind because that's a goal into her stat sheet.
Hey, Jose Mourinho's won a lot of games winning ugly. So if we're just that team that wins ugly, I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
But that Townsend goal was a goal scorer's goal.
yeah, it's. I mean, I still sometimes go back and watch the highlights. I mean, I noticed the one thing I noticed early on it was that the back line what looked prepared. They already got Houston to get offsides in the twice in the first 20 or so minutes. Like I think offsides are overlooked sometimes. Offsides are are produced when your back line knows where they're at on the field, is aware of what's happening, and it showed as the night went on. They were yes, they there were a couple of bad clearances that put Souza in a tough spot every now and then, but they still were able to make it just a one goal for Houston, and they just scored three unanswered right as the game went on. I mean, overall, just a master. You said it. You said it yourself. Just a master class by head coach Sonia Cavello.
And Souza, she was incredible. I
Yes.
mean, she had to bail out the team a few different times. Houston probably should have had 3 goals that game and only came away with one, if not more, right? I mean, she was that good. But that's why you bring someone in like that, right? You bring an experienced goalkeeper, uh, and it paid off right there. And when the back line was good most of the night, and when it wasn't, she was there to back it up and made a play, right? Made the stop. So, um, yeah, it just shows how improved this program is. I mean, we called it. I mean, we've been saying it for years now. Buy stock in Coach Carvello. Buy stock in this program. They're going to get better and better every year. And beating a team like Houston in Houston, right at Carl Lewis, at the complex there in downtown, Colin, that's a huge accomplishment for this team and this program. It's trajectory upward and upward every year.
I couldn't agree more, man. I don't really have much else to say except that this program has really been turned around. I mean, that WAC tournament run a few years ago. I mean, that was one thing, but everything else, like soccer, has been in kind of a weird spot, a mostly bad spot, anyway. And Cavrello is unlocking the uh, the paths to having not just more potential, but being more able to show that they can be that team to not just get into conference tournaments every year, but to also win the championships to get into the NCAA tournament. And again, long season ahead. But if this win by Houston shows, is that Sam Houston most definitely has the potential to make the tournament this year, the
Yeah,
NCAA
and
tournament.
and to get back on the actual game though, Colin. I mean, you don't want to ask your goalie to make. I mean, 8 saves. That's a lot, right? That's too many. You need to help her out a little bit more than that. Uh, but 2 of those goals, right, came off the bench. Both Gabriel Williams and Jasmine Dybala, both came off the bench. Downs was the starter that scored, but 2 of those coming off the bench. That's huge for the team's not just the win, but confidence going forward, knowing that, and Coach Crivello going forward, that she can go to her bench, knowing that she's got some players there that can score some goals and good goals too, right? So, um, it's just a tremendous accomplishment for this team, and next up, Houston Christian. If you beat Houston, you should be able to beat Houston HCU, right?
Yeah, you said it. You said it, not me.
You would hope so.
You would hope so. I mean, just not mean to not trying to bash the Huskies, but yes, the Sam Houston should probably wipe the floor against Houston Christian. That's going to be this Friday. That would conclude the first week of Sam Houston State University classes being back. So if you're not doing anything on a Friday night, if you want to get some Bearcat athletics before football starts, go on over to Pritchett Field. It's a lot of history happened there. I will say that's where football played. That's where Huntsville Hornet football played for years as well. And now it's the home of Sam Houston women's soccer. It's a pretty historic place. So you should go there anytime you can if you go to Sam Houston State University. But go there Friday night.
But Colin, we're looking at a team, right? That could wrap up, and I know they've only played 2 games, and people are thinking, "Oh my God, come on, Luke! They've only played 2 games." But if you can wrap up August, uh, you know, undefeated, right?
which they can.
I mean, Houston Christian, very much beatable. Corpus Christi, I think beatable, right? Corpus Christi, I don't know. Never even knew Corpus Christi had a soccer team, but feels like they're probably beatable. And UIW is beatable. I mean, that is 4-1, screaming at you right there.
Oh,
4-0-1, or
four
no?
oh one. No, you're right. 4-0-1. Yeah. So yeah, I agree, and I don't have any more to say. But Sam Houston Athletics is back. The athletic year is off to a great start with soccer, getting the draw against SFA, but most importantly, that huge win against the Houston Cougars. Folks, where football is also just around the corner, and then before you know it, volleyball is also going to start, and then before you know it, the hardwood sports are back with men's basketball and women's basketball. So for all the talk, be sure you subscribe today for more Sam Houston Sports Talk. It's literally the name of the channel. So see what I did there?
I see what you did, Colin.
Yeah. I was hoping someone would see it. But anyway, that was Luke Scott. I'm Collin Neill. This has been another episode of the Sam Houston Sports Talk podcast. Be sure you once again subscribe and follow us on all of our socials. Follow me and Luke as well on our personal social medias as well. They're in the Twitter/X bio on Twitter/X. So, but anyway, that was it for this one. Y'all have a good one, and as always, eat 'em up, cats.
Eat 'em up, cats.